Good morning, John. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. You and I have talked a lot via email and off mic, of course, about my reluctance to talk too much about New Year's resolutions, even though we are here in the new year. I feel like that's kind of a hackneyed subject. Everybody's been through it before. And before we talk about maybe how you might want to improve things in your life in 2026, Jason, describe your path, if you will, your one path that got you to where you are today and why this would be of importance to you and your work.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for having me back on the show. So my name is Jason Gerardo. Like you said, I live in Winters, California with my wife and our kitties, and I see clients virtually, though, as well. But so my journey was, I was born a healer. It was my calling. It was what I was born to do. And for the lack of time, I'll just share this. So around 1999, I said, you know what, I need a toolbox. If I'm going to help people, if I'm going to be this person that can support others on their journey, I need a toolbox. And so I set my intention to get some challenge, get some training. And I just got trained in neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and that began my journey. And it all started with an intention. It all started with saying, you know what, I want to achieve something greater. How am I going to do that? And then I broke it down into those small chunks and said, okay, well, you have to get some schooling. How are you going to do that? Let's find a school. And it went from there. And that's how my journey began. And then even when I took it to full time, 4 years ago, to make my own business of doing this 100%, I had to step back and say, okay, once again, what do you want to achieve? How are you going to achieve it? Where are you at and where do you want to go? And I broke it down in those chunks. And so it allowed me to get to the point where now I'm a master practitioner of neurolinguistics and a master hypnotherapist and, I have all these qualifications that I keep growing. But it was really about looking at where I wanted to be and where I was at and how I was going to get there.
And you've been awesome to us to share that expertise over the years, and I sure appreciate it. But now that we are at the beginning of 2026, Jason, we're talking about setting goals, something you and I have talked about over the years. You break it down into an interesting way of looking at it through the lens of self-compassion as you set goals. You just talked about your goals you set for yourself. Can you describe what the lens of self-compassion is and why that's a good way to look at setting goals for 2026?
Yeah, what happens is people set that resolution or that goal and they make it really big and really just like kind of ambiguous. I want to lose weight or I want to make more money. And that's challenging because you lose control because it's ambiguous. So you don't really know what steps to take. And then through that, you get frustrated. Oh, I always mess up. Man, am I a good person? I'm not disciplined enough. I'm not going to make this happen. And that does not help. So self-compassion is saying, hey, there's something I want to change, but they say compassion is a verb. So it means taking action. So you know what? There's something I want to change, something I don't like, and I'm going to take action. And then within that, it's about rewarding yourself and acknowledging when you make movements. Small incremental movements will get you to the goal line. But when you try to make this big goal, that's why most people, we're just finishing the first full week of January, and I guarantee there's already folks that have already forgot or left the resolution that they set.
That's right.
So it's about not judging yourself. It's about having compassion. Say, you know what? I am moving forward. Even if it's not huge movement, it is movement.
It's one of those words I love to use, and maybe I overuse it, which is compartmentalize, is like taking little chunks and recognizing those chunks and not ignoring them. Is that, as we try to explain like simple ways of moving forward for people, do you buy into that concept, Jason, the idea of this is today's thing, I'm going to get this done, and I'm going to reward myself for this particular part of the bigger puzzle?
Oh, completely. Yeah, I share a story, and I shared it with you about Dan Millman. Someone asked him, do you think you're a great person? And he said, I have great moments. And that's the key. That's life, is that finding those great moments and breaking goals into small, actionable steps and focusing on that next step, not the entire mountain. And so you put these pieces together and, you see a 1,000-piece puzzle. It all comes together. It's a beautiful picture. You might not see it when you get started, but putting those first two little links together, that's the beginning of a beautiful journey.
I'll tell you what, this explains a lot about my wife's obsession with doing puzzles. She may be onto something, right? She's trying to get her dialed in. Jason, I appreciate that perspective. For folks who want to get in touch with you or want to explore some of these neuro connections that you talk about, how can they do that?
Yeah, I'm very accessible. My website is One Path Coaching, all words spelled out, onepathcoaching.com. And they could email me direct, and it's also spelled out onepathcoaching@gmail.com. I love to hear from folks.
Beautiful. We love that too. Jason Gerardo, we appreciate you. It is onepathcoaching.com.